Hello everyone, my name is Jessica Eads. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment Management here at Hofstra University. More importantly, I am the Dean of Admission. What that means, obviously, is that I have been the person reviewing your applications with those of us in the admissions staff for the last few months, and we are thrilled to have you as admitted students here at Hofstra. So, I don't want to delay. I do want to say it's a little strange to not actually be in person with you. We have lots of admitted student day opportunities on campus where we hope you'll come to campus and actually see us. For those of us in admissions, reading stacks of papers and reading your files every day, to actually see your face means a lot. So I hope you don't make this very important decision without stepping foot on campus. And when you're there, I certainly hope you find time to come and introduce yourself to those of us on my team. So again, my name is Jessica Eads, and in case you didn't remember, I'm the person who's been emailing you incessantly. So we have a question from Tom, and Tom's question is, what is the incoming class size? This year actually was the largest application year we've had so far at Hofstra. We received about 28,000 applications for the freshman class. Each of those applications are read 3 times by 3 different people in the admissions office. And the goal of our application process is to really have the person who recruited you in your high school when you were a sophomore in some cases and met you at that high school, that person has hopefully built a relationship with you up to this point and is the first person to read your application. After that person evaluates the application, it goes to a second member of the admissions team, and then that person reviews and writes a critique as well, and then that recommendation goes to a third person, and it is presented to committee. At committee, we're able to really look for kind of what is it about the student that we think makes you a good fit for Hofstra. And let me kind of tell you a little about what that means. You know, we're looking for students who are going to be aggressive about their education. We want you to be an active member of our community, and that means more than just an SAT and a GPA. It means, in some cases, a student athlete. It means somebody with an incredible talent. Maybe you're a tuba player, but it's maybe you've done a lot of community service work. But we're looking for somebody who's going to be actively engaged in our campus. And so 28,000 applications, as you can imagine, it was a tough fall and winter semester for us in admissions. But we are hoping to enroll about 1,650 first-year students this year. So after all of that, there's a small group of people who've been invited to enroll at Hofstra, and we are delighted that you're among that group. So Mary has our second question. Mary wants to know what makes Hofstra stand out over the other schools that she's been admitted to. Well, that's really easy. The one thing I would say that's probably the most important thing about Hofstra is what we would call, or we refer to it as our mission for service. And what I mean by that is, at Hofstra, you're not going to get lost. We're going to know who you are. We're going to know your name. And we do that in a number of ways. For one, we have a 14-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio. The average class size is 21. Through the admission process, all the way through to graduation, whether you're interacting with members of our student body, of our alumni organizations, or with members of the administration and faculty, we're going to know who you are. So that's one thing that I think sets us apart. The other thing is our location. We are in a perfect location where we're 35 miles east of New York City, allowing you to jump on the Hofstra shuttle, the free Hofstra shuttle, that runs with 2 train stations right into the city, and within 40 minutes you could be in Manhattan. What that means, obviously, is you have the ability to take classes maybe on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and intern on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the city. It also means our faculty are still involved. They're still in their industry. They're very active, which means we have more connections when it comes to getting an internship, and ultimately more connections for a job. So I would say our size, in terms of close mentoring relationships with faculty, because our class sizes are so small, but also our overall size. We are a large enough institution on a 240-acre suburban beautiful campus. We have 17 Division I athletic programs, so we have lots of things going on campus all the time. And yet we're small enough where you feel like you're a part of a real community, an intimate community. And again, faculty will know your name. Our location and proximity to New York City is very important. And choice. You know, at Hofstra we have over 140 majors to choose from. And while for some of you, you believe you know exactly what you want to study, all the stats say that you will probably change your mind a few times before. Certainly there will be some of you who will stick to that major, but for those of you who don't, the ability to choose among our 140 different programs and to do so without having to reapply to a school means a lot. It means you will still be able to graduate within 4 years, and we'll just simply help you in terms of the transition from one major to the next. So choice, size, location, and again, these mentoring kinds of relationships and this service opportunity that I would say that goes throughout the entire curriculum. So we will be working very hard to make sure that every opportunity that we can provide you with is available. So I'm going to skip to our next question. Howard wants to know, how many classes do I need to take to be considered full-time? A full-time student takes 12 credits. However, your tuition, we have a flat rate tuition. Your tuition covers up to 17 credits. So we certainly have the ability to take more than 12 credits, but 12 credits is full-time. Stephanie wants to know, how does Hofstra help students take advantage of New York City? Okay, well, that's great. We have a couple of ways. We have something called Explore Next Door, and those are led excursions into the city where they are led by members of the faculty in some cases, member of our Student Affairs Division, current student leaders on campus, and we will take groups of students into the city during this Explore Next Door process, as well as actually during Welcome Week, which is the first few days where first-year students get to move onto campus before everybody else. And we give you the opportunity to understand how to get into the city. So, you know, if you were in this room right now, I'd ask how many people have been in the city, how many people live on Long Island. We find that even local families and local kids don't actually go into the city as often as you would suggest. So maybe you're from California and you think, how am I going to get into the city? Well, I would say odds are some of our friends from Long Island also don't necessarily know how to get into the city and navigate that process on their own. And so this Explore Next Door process allows students to go with, let's say, a faculty member. I know Warren Fresina, our Dean of Honors College, led a group of students into the city, and they went ice skating. And then after the ice skating, they actually went and had hot chocolate in his apartment with him and his wife. And it was a great way to, one, explore New York City, but also break down those traditional barriers of faculty and student, because you've done something now socially with a faculty member. And what that hopefully means, or what that can get extended to, is when you're struggling and you're having a hard time in classes and you have a question and you want to approach your faculty member, they seem a little bit more approachable. So we're trying to break down some of those traditional walls. And we believe that some of these excursions can help you do that, because again, you're having a social experience with a faculty member, eating a meal, or an advisement dean, or whomever the case may be. Melissa has a question, and that is, what are my chances of getting a job after I graduate? Well, Melissa, 94% of our students who graduated last year and responded to our survey had a job upon graduation. Actually, had a job a year after graduation, but more importantly, 53% had a job before they actually walked across the stage. So during some portion of their senior year, the spring of their senior year, or in some cases, we know a student who works in our office who is an accounting student who at the end of her internship in her junior year was offered a position. So her entire senior year, she had her job lined up for her, just waiting. So there's lots of things like that that are happening. Again, this proximity to New York City makes it so easy for you to be able to intern in the city that you can, and many of our students do, have 3 to 4 internships before you even graduate. And all of those internship opportunities then can lead to jobs. So Amy asks, I read that Hofstra's student to faculty ratio is 14 to 1. How does Hofstra use this to its advantage? Well, you know, class size is really important. And it's important on, I would say, a couple of levels. One is you're in a classroom with just a few people, and you have a faculty member in front of you who can tell whether or not you've engaged in the discussion, who can tell whether or not maybe you usually engage and all of a sudden you haven't. So there are ways to have, when you have a small class size, there are ways that faculty can kind of get involved in a way that they can't when there's a huge classroom, and allows them to set up some safety nets. So in other words, you know, I notice I noticed, Amy, for instance, you haven't been in class for the last few days. They can actually send an email out to your advisor and say, I haven't seen Amy in a little while. Can somebody reach out and check on her? And so there are things like that that allow us to just make sure that you're on track and you're going to graduate in 4 years. And the 14-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio really allows us to do that. So John, how long does it take to graduate is the question. On average, our students graduate within 4 years. I mean, that is the track that we put our students on. And there are a couple of ways that we help you monitor that track. For one, when you are admitted to Hofstra, the minute you're admitted, you are assigned an administrative team. On that administrative team, you have your admission counselor. You have a member of the Student Financial Services Office. The member of the Student Financial Services counseling team will work with you to make sure you don't forget important deadlines, make sure you filed your FAFSA every year, all of those types of important things. In addition, you have a member of the the Center for University Advisement professional staff. So that is a dean in the Center for University Advisement who's going to be with you from the day you enter to the day you graduate. That person's always going to be monitoring that kind of track to make sure that you've been there, that you're on task, rather, to graduate within 4 years. But then, once you declare a major, a faculty member joins that team. And that faculty member sits with you and talks about, career opportunities in that major and really works with you within the major and within the department. And that, too, helps us just to make sure, again, you're on track. So there are a lot of eyes always watching, trying to make sure that, we help you get through the process in the time that's appropriate. Molly wants to know, is there a lot to do on and off campus? So we have a 240-acre campus located 35 miles, I think it is, east of New York City. I would say there's a lot to do off campus. But in addition to that, there's a lot to do on campus. We have 17 Division I athletic programs. So there's always a game of some kind happening. We have a movie theater in the Student Center where students can go and see movies. There are various shows. So we have, theatrical performances on campus, music performances on campus. We have something that's called Fall Festival. And Fall Festival is our version of homecoming. We've had Jimmy Fallon come. We have had Louis C.K. come. It's a little bit hard for those of us who are a little bit older, but he came and it was great and students loved it. We had Salt and Pepper. We had Rick Ross. We had Trey Songz. So lots of different musical groups and entertainers come to campus during our Fall Festival. Our students and various groups on campus do a parade where they present floats, and the floats are presented in a competition and somebody wins each year. And there's a big carnival. So the students have, big slides and all carnival rides and carnival games and things like that. So it's a lot of fun, and that's something we do on campus. There's also a beach. I mean, we're right next to beautiful beaches of Long Island. Many of our students go to Jones Beach, Robert Moses, or Long Beach to do things as well. Movie theaters in the surrounding area. Obviously, there's shopping. So there's lots to do on campus. Nina has written a question. She says she was invited to join Honors College, but I'm still really interested. Is there a chance for me? Oh, she wasn't. I'm sorry. Nina was not invited to join Honors College, but she's still really interested. Is there still a chance for me to join? This is one of my favorite questions because unlike many other colleges, Hofstra, it's not once and you're done. So you can be admitted to Honors College based on your SAT and your GPAs and your coursework in high school. But in addition to that, after you've earned a 3.5 GPA at Hofstra, a 3.6 GPA at Hofstra, the Dean of the Honors College will actually write to you and invite you to participate in our Honors College and invite you to be a part. In addition to that, if you have a 3.4, you're invited and allowed to apply for an application to Honors College. So there's always an opportunity, and we really are mindful to reward people who do well here at Hofstra. Okay, so it looks like we are going to take a little break, but keep those questions coming, and we'll be back in a few seconds. Thank you. Hi everyone, we're back. My name is Jessica Eads. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment Management and Dean of Admission here at Hofstra. And we're taking some questions from some of our admitted students who, again, I want to congratulate on your acceptance to Hofstra and want to encourage you as much as I can to come to campus, not let this be the only opportunity to talk to us. Call us, email us, do whatever it takes, but we certainly want to help you in getting all of your questions answered before this very important decision deadline, which is coming up. So Andy has a question, and Andy is my son's name, so it actually makes it very nice to see. But Andy wants to know, is that campus behind me? Actually, you don't know this, but there's a big green screen behind me. But you can see a picture of our campus. Yes, it's one of the Hofstra quads, and it is a shot of campus during the fall. So that's actually what it's going to look like when you're here. More importantly, on our website, we have a virtual tour, and there are lots of pictures of campus. Go to the virtual tour. There's also in YouTube various videos that are shot on campus that are actually shot from some of our student pride guides. So they're not professionally done, but they're a great way to get to know what our campus is like, and I strongly encourage you to do that. So Richard has a question. He wants to know how many students are from somewhere other than New York State. So, 63% of our applications this year came from outside of New York State. In terms of our enrollment, it's usually about 50-50. Important for you to understand, though, is when we include 50% from New York State, we're talking about places like Albany and Buffalo. So our local area, our local New York students comprise of about, I think it's about 35%, just to give you a feel. The next question is from Clara. She wants to know if she can work on campus. Yes, and actually it's something we strongly encourage in the admission office. As I said, and if I didn't, I've said it a million times probably, but I'm an alum, and I was a commuting student here too many years ago. And one of the things that really helped me connect to campus was working on campus. And so we really strongly encourage our students to take the opportunity to come work on campus. Some of you have been awarded federal work-study dollars, so you can take an opportunity to work on campus through the federal work-study program. But there are also many departments on campus that hire students. The admissions office hires over 100 students a year. We would love for you to come work for us. Many of those positions are volunteer positions, but we also have some paid positions as well. And the more new students we have, the better off. So I would strongly encourage you, come see us in September and tell us you want to work in admissions. So that's Clara. Brandon wants to know, what extra help programs do you have for students? You know, Brandon, I'm not the academic person on campus, so I'm sure I'm going to leave out a million things, and hopefully nobody will get mad at me for it. But there's lots of opportunities to get the kind of help you need. We have a writing center on campus where you can go and get assistance with your writing. And you know, we always talk about, no matter how strong of a writer you think you are, your first paper is always painful. And so we really strongly encourage you go to the Writing Center and get some help, and they'll give you great pointers. They have peer writing tutors. They have professional writing staff there, so it's wonderful. So we have a Writing Center on campus. We have a tutorial program on campus. Again, you can have an upperclassman who will tutor you in a course subject. But we also have faculty office hours. And again, you know, our connections with faculty are very important. We strongly encourage you, come knock on the door during office hours and say to a faculty member, you know, I'm really interested in the subject matter. I'm getting a little bit confused. Can you spend some time with me? And that is what makes the difference, I think, between a large school and a place like Hofstra. You can do that. You can come sit with a faculty member, you know, grab lunch with them and talk about the curriculum in a way and in a way that will help you absorb it much better, and it will certainly go much further for you in that respect. So that's a really important way to get extra help. Go see your faculty. Be a part with them. You know, create those mentoring relationships, so this way one day when you're looking for a letter of recommendation or you're looking for an internship or a job, you have those people to go to. Haley has a question. She wants to know when she could register for her classes. Well, as soon as you pay that May 1 tuition deposit, or sooner, of course, you have the ability through your Hofstra portal to go and select some of your preferences for what we have called our clusters and seminar programs. So you can actually, those people who've already deposited have already actually selected some of their courses for the fall. But those are your preferences for courses. Then you come to orientation. We have an orientation program 3 days during the summer. You have to come sleep on campus. And at the last of those 3 days, you'll sit with an advisor and you will register for all of your classes. So it's a great opportunity to get familiar with campus, to meet with other upperclassmen. We call them our orientation leaders, and they will share, all the information they have about Hofstra. Some of our Pride guides are also orientation leaders. Those are your bubbly tour guides, but they will help kind of give you some input and advice on what it's like to navigate your first year. And so I strongly encourage you, engage in that process. But orientation is very exciting, and you register for classes at the end. Samantha has a question. She wants to know how involved our alumni are. Very involved. And a lot of that has to do, again, with our proximity to New York City. When you are so close to the city, it means that our faculty have the ability, our alumni have the ability to come back and to lecture, do a guest lecture in a class. I know the Zarb School has evening programs where they will do mocktail hour, where they, teach you how to behave in a cocktail hour and how to network. We have alumni who are willing to come and do resume critiques, mock interviews. I actually just met with a group of alumni in the city on Monday night, and it was a great opportunity for them to come back and kind of tell us all the things they're doing in their industries and how Hofstra students can help them. So they're looking for internships, but in addition to that, they're looking for, in some cases, feedback, from current students, depending on the industry. So there's lots of ways that our alumni get involved. Michael asks, when will I find out who my roommate is and where we live? So after you've paid your tuition deposit and your housing deposit, you will get assigned a dorm room. And once you're assigned to housing, the faculty at Hofstra, the student affairs folks will send you an assignment letter. So you'll get a letter, and it's usually around, I think it's mid-June, early July, but I can't remember exactly. But whoever had this question should write a quick note and send it to us in an email. But I'm pretty sure it's mid-June, early July. It's enough time, because we've seen this happen all the time, for you to arrange with your roommate who's going to bring what, and you can deal with decorating and all that kind of fun stuff, having a dorm room for the first time. Alex has a question. He wants to know, if I'm visiting campus, what's the one thing I must see or know? Whew. That's hard. There's a lot of things. It really depends on your major. If you're interested in the School of Communication, you absolutely must go to Dempster Hall. If you're interested in the School of Business, you must go to the CV Star Hall. And I could say the same thing for each of the colleges. So I think academics, for sure, you have to hit your main place for your academic programs. You should see a residence hall. If you're planning on living on campus, you absolutely want to come see the residence hall. Go to the student center. We have 18 different eateries on campus. 18. We have kosher. We have a sushi bar where they'll actually roll the sushi for you right there. They have a fresh fish grill where you tell them what you want on it, and they will grill it for you right there on the spot. We have Nathan's, we have Subway, we have Red Mango. So those kinds of things, I know it seems silly, but you're choosing a college right now. But not only are you choosing a college, you're choosing a place that you're going to be for the next 4 years. And for many of you, you've been in the same place, you've lived in the same house, and you've been with the same friends since kindergarten or first grade in some cases. And now we're kind of plopping you out of there and putting you in the middle of a 240-acre campus that's going to feel gigantic. And so what we've tried to do is make it so it doesn't feel so big. We've clustered our students together in ways that really ease the transition. And so when you ask what should you see when you step foot on campus, I'm going to say some of the comfort things, because I think food is important. And I think it's important for you to feel comfortable when you're on campus and when you're away from home. So I would say make sure there's a place that you can look at and identify as, the library is a place I see myself sitting in those chairs, hanging out, having a cup of coffee. Our library is amazing. And the first floor of the library is always packed with students, and they're hanging out, and it's furniture that kind of can move around, and it's a great place for students to be and to come together, and there's a little cafe. And so I would say come check out campus, but remember the things that you need to make you feel comfortable, and make sure you see those spots too. Lisa wants to know, what date should I submit my deposit? Well, the national candidate reply date is May 1st. So that means you have to tell the college of your choice by May 1 what school you're interested in attending. The sooner you do it, obviously, the better. It means that it's one less thing you have to worry about. It means that the schools can start communicating some of your next steps with you. So May 1. And Faith has a question. What is Hofstra doing to improve its image for the future? You know, Hofstra is a place that we say, I think the president said actually on Saturday at our admitted student day, we have an academic chip on our shoulder. And what he means by that is we are a hugely ambitious institution. We have huge goals, and we have been very successful in meeting those goals. So let me give you some examples about those goals. For one, we have the president actually had lunch several years ago with the head of North Shore LIJ Health System, and they said, hey, wouldn't it be great if we started a med school? And lo and behold, now we're enrolling our 3rd med school class this year. We decided that we wanted to expand our engineering program, and we expanded it to make an engineering college, and this class will be the first year who will be admitted to our engineering college, engineering and applied science. We have a health sciences and human service college now. So we're constantly looking at what the marketplace demands in terms of education of young people and young minds, and we are responding, and we're responding quickly. And so I think, you know, that's probably a good sign for our future in terms of what is, you know, kind of what's our momentum and what is our ambition. But take to the next step. How many schools can tell you that they applied for 2 presidential debates and gained both of them? So we hosted the presidential debate in 2008, and we hosted this year's presidential debate, and at the C-SPAN interview, the president of Hofstra rather, announced that he plans absolutely to apply for the next one. So that'll be in your senior year. So looks like we are struggling for, okay. So it looks like we have no more time for questions, but I want to say thank you. I want to thank all of you for joining and seeing this chat. It, again, was a little bit awkward, so hopefully you'll come meet us in person and see what it's really like to be a Hofstra student. Thank you for joining me, and we certainly hope you choose Hofstra. Have a good day.